I'm standing in front of a 50-foot billboard in Times Square, staring up at my own smile. Or rather, half of it. The other half has been carefully cropped to feature Lena's perfect white teeth. My third cup of coffee trembles in my hand as commuters brush past me, oblivious to my meltdown. The same smile that once graced our college graduation photo, before she edited me out and claimed solo credit for our joint thesis. The same smile that appeared in our first marketing campaign, before I was conveniently removed from the team credits. Except this time, I'm not the naive Mia Chen who let it slide. This time, I've lived this life before and I know exactly how it ends. With me face down in my bathtub while Lena accepts an award for my work. Not this time, I whisper as I pull out my phone to make the call that will change everything. 6 months earlier, or 6 years later, depending on how you count, I'm hunched over my desk at 3 a.m., my eyes burning as I put the finishing touches on the Lumiere Cosmetics campaign. Our biggest client yet. My biggest break yet. Our small agency's shot at the big leagues. Our agency. Mine and Lena's. Best friends since freshman year of college. Business partners for nearly 5 years. Chen and Walsh Creative, though lately it feels more like Walsh and Chen, if I'm being honest. Still at it? Lena's voice startles me. She's leaning against my office doorframe, looking impossibly fresh in a silk blouse and tailored pants despite the hour. Her dark hair falls in perfect waves, while mine is twisted in a messy bun held together by a pencil. Just finishing the mock-ups for tomorrow's presentation. I rub my eyes. Want to take a look? Lena glides over, her perfume, always expensive, always subtle, enveloping me as she leans over my shoulder. God, Mia, these are brilliant. Her hand squeezes my shoulder. You've outdone yourself. The praise floods me with warmth, as it always does. Lena's approval has been my drug of choice since we met in Intro to Marketing, when the dazzling social butterfly somehow decided the anxious girl who always sat in the back row was worth talking to. You think they'll go for it? I ask, knowing she'll reassure me. They'd be idiots not to. She straightens up. But you need sleep. I can finish uploading these to the presentation deck. You sure? Positive. You're dead on your feet. She makes a shooing motion. Go, I've got this. I hesitate, fingers hovering over my keyboard. Mia. Her tone sharpens slightly. Trust me, when have I ever let you down? Never, I think as I gather my things. That's our dynamic. I create, she sells. I hide in the background, she shines in the spotlight. It works. It's always worked. Thank you, I mumble, exhaustion suddenly hitting me like a truck. I owe you. We're partners, she says, already sliding into my chair. No keeping score. But someone is keeping score. I just don't know it yet. The presentation is a disaster, or rather, I am a disaster. I oversleep. My alarm never goes off, or maybe it did, and I was too exhausted to hear it. By the time I wake in a panic and race to the Lumiere headquarters, I'm 30 minutes late. I burst into the conference room, apologies tumbling from my lips, only to freeze at the scene before me. Lena stands confidently at the head of the table, my designs projected on the wall behind her, the executives nodding appreciatively. She doesn't miss a beat when I enter. And here's the genius herself, my partner Mia Chen, she says smoothly, just in time to answer any technical questions about the designs. Technical questions? As if I'm not the creative director, as if I'm some junior graphic designer brought in to explain font choices. But I smile weakly and take the only empty seat at the far end of the table, away from Lena, away from the clients. I notice my presentation notes in front of her, the notes I spent hours perfecting last night. As I was saying, she continues, the campaign concept centers around the duality of modern beauty, embracing both tradition and innovation. My concept, my words now coming from her mouth. I wait for her to mention that this was my brainchild, my late nights, my vision, but the acknowledgement never comes. The clients love it, of course they do. It's brilliant work if I do say so myself. And as they shake Lena's hand, complimenting her vision and creativity, I feel something shift between us. Something fundamental. Later, when we're alone in the elevator, I try to broach the subject. You did great in there. I begin carefully. We did great, she corrects, but she's checking her reflection in her compact mirror, not looking at me. Right, but I noticed you didn't exactly mention that the concept was mine. She snaps the compact shut. Does it matter? We're partners. Your win is my win. I know, but what? Now she does look at me, her hazel eyes narrowing slightly. Would you rather I'd told them you overslept and nearly tanked the biggest meeting of our careers? Or maybe I should have stalled for 30 minutes, making us look unprofessional while you got your act together? Heat rushes to my face. No, of course not. I saved our asses in there, Mia. A little gratitude wouldn't kill you. The elevator doors open, and just like that, the conversation is over. I trail behind her through the lobby, the familiar weight of guilt and inadequacy settling on my shoulders. She's right. She covered for me. I'm being petty and insecure, aren't I? It starts small. A social media post about the Lumiere campaign that mentions Lena but not me. An interview with a local business magazine where our roles are described as Lena Walsh, creative director, and Mia Chen, designer. When I point these out, Lena has explanations that make perfect sense. The social media character limit, the journalist who misunderstood, small things, honest mistakes. Then I find the graduation photo on her desk. The one where we're holding our diplomas, arms around each other's shoulders, grinning at the camera. Except I'm not in it anymore. It's just Lena, the edge of the photo neatly cropped where I used to be. What happened to this picture? I ask, trying to keep my tone light. You cut me out. She barely glances up from her computer. Oh, that old thing? The frame was too small. I've got the full version saved somewhere. I know she's lying. The frame is the same one we bought together after graduation. I remember because we argued about the style. I wanted simple black. She insisted on ornate silver. She won, as she usually did, but I let it go, again. Then the client emails start coming just to her. The industry event invitations addressed solely to Lena Walsh of Chen and Walsh Creative. The Design Award nomination for the Lumiere campaign with only her name listed as the creative lead. When I finally work up the courage to confront her, we're at our favorite wine bar celebrating landing another major client. I have had just enough Cabernet to loosen my tongue. Do you know what it feels like? I say, twirling my glass, to see your name on work I created. Lena sets down her wine carefully. What are you talking about? The Lumiere campaign, the award nomination. It only has your name on it. Oh, that, she waves dismissively. It's just industry politics, Mia. You know how it is. They want a face for the company, and I'm the one who deals with clients. It's optics. It's my work, I insist, my voice embarrassingly close to a whine. My designs, my concepts, my campaign. Lena's expression softens into something like pity. Mia, honey, it's our campaign, our agency. Why are you so hung up on who gets credit? We both benefit when the agency succeeds. But we don't both benefit equally, do we? The words slip out before I can stop them. Your name is getting known. Your reputation is growing. While I'm just, what, the workhorse in the back room? Is that really how you see yourself? She reaches across the table to take my hand. Mia, you're projecting your insecurities again. Remember what Dr. Winters said about that? Dr. Winters is my therapist, whom I started seeing at Lena's suggestion when the panic attacks got bad last year. Lena has never met her, but somehow always knows exactly what she supposedly said during our sessions. This isn't about my insecurities, I say, pulling my hand away. This is about facts. Look at the nomination. I pull up the email on my phone and slide it across to her. She glances at it, then back at me with an expression of exaggerated patience. I'll email them tomorrow and have it corrected. Happy now? But she doesn't email them. And 2 weeks later, she attends the awards ceremony alone. You hate these industry events anyway, Mia, and returns with a gleaming trophy that goes on her office shelf, not in our shared reception area. I say nothing. The evidence is mounting, but so is my self-doubt. Maybe I am being insecure. Maybe I should be grateful that Lena handles the public-facing aspects of our business while I get to stay in my comfort zone. Maybe this is what partnership means, playing to our strengths. Or maybe I'm being systematically erased. The Aurelia account is my dream client, a luxury fashion brand known for its avant-garde campaigns and willingness to take creative risks. When they send out RFPs to agencies, it's like the creative Olympics. Everyone wants in, but few get the chance. Somehow, through Lena's networking no doubt, we get an invitation to pitch. I'm ecstatic. This is what I've been working toward my entire career. A chance to create something truly groundbreaking, to put my artistic vision on a global stage. I throw myself into the project like never before. For 3 weeks, I barely sleep or eat. My apartment becomes a war room of sketches, mood boards, and prototypes. I develop a revolutionary concept combining AR technology with traditional print media, creating an interactive campaign that reflects Aurelia's blend of innovation and classic luxury. The night before the presentation, Lena insists we celebrate in advance. "You've worked yourself to death," she says, uncorking a bottle of champagne in our office. "One night of relaxation won't kill you." I protest weakly, but the truth is I could use a break. My eyes are gritty from staring at screens, and my back aches from hunching over my tablet. One drink to unwind, then I'll finish my presentation notes. One drink becomes three. Lena keeps pouring, keeps toasting. To us, to Aurelia, to Chen, and Walsh dominating the industry. The room spins pleasantly. For the first time in weeks, I feel the tension leaving my body. "I should head home," I say finally, struggling slightly to enunciate. "Big day tomorrow." "Let me call you a car," Lena insists. "You can come back for your stuff in the morning." I don't argue. My eyelids are heavy, my limbs leaden. The last thing I remember is Lena helping me into an Uber, promising to finish uploading my presentation files to our shared drive. Morning arrives with a splitting headache and a mouth that tastes like something died in it. I grope for my phone. It's 9:17 a.m. The Aurelia presentation is at 10 o'clock. Panic cuts through the fog of my hangover. I throw on clothes, splash water on my face, and race to the office to gather my materials, calling Lena repeatedly. No answer. When I arrive, the office is empty. Lena's already gone. I check our shared drive for the presentation. It's there, but something's not right. The file is smaller than it should be. I open it and find that entire sections are missing, including my speaker notes and the technical explanations of how the AR integration would work. I try calling Lena again, straight to voicemail. By the time I reach Aurelia's headquarters, it's 10:22. I've missed the beginning of our slot. I burst into the conference room, disheveled and panting, to find Lena wrapping up my presentation to a room of impressed executives. "Revolutionary approach to integrating traditional luxury messaging with cutting-edge technology," she's saying. My words, my concept, my passion project. She looks up, a flicker of something, surprise, annoyance, crossing her face before she smoothly transitions. And here's Mia now. Unfortunately, she's been battling a nasty bug, but insisted on showing up to support the team. Such dedication. The pity in the client's eyes makes me want to scream. I'm not sick. Well, not with the bug anyway. The hangover pounds behind my eyes as I try to make sense of what's happening. "I can explain the AR component," I manage, stepping forward. "Oh, we've covered all that," Lena says brightly. "We're just wrapping up. Right, Marcus?" Marcus, the Aurelia marketing director, nods. "Comprehensive presentation, Miss Walsh. We're very impressed with your vision." My vision. The room tilts slightly. "Why don't you sit down, Mia?" Lena suggests, her tone gentle but her eyes warning. "You look flushed." I sit, speechless, as Lena fields technical questions about my design, questions she can't possibly know the answers to, yet somehow does. Did she go through all my notes, my sketches, my private files? 2 hours later, back at our office, I finally corner her. "What the hell was that?" I demand, my voice shaking. "You presented my entire campaign without me." "You were late," she replies calmly, sorting through papers on her desk. "And frankly, you look terrible. Would you rather I had called and canceled? Thrown away our shot at Aurelia because you couldn't handle your alcohol?" "You kept pouring drinks," I remind her, "and you promised to wake me up." She looks up, eyes wide with manufactured innocence. "I called you 3 times this morning. You didn't answer." "That's not—" I check my call log. There are no calls from Lena. "You're lying. See, this is exactly why I had to handle the presentation alone." She sighs deeply. "You're not well, Mia? First the paranoia about credit, now accusing me of sabotage? I'm worried about you." "Don't do that," I say, my voice barely above a whisper. "Don't make this about my mental health." "Then what is it about?" Because from where I'm standing, my business partner is becoming increasingly unstable and unreliable. I had to cover for you today, again, and instead of thanking me, you're attacking me. I stare at her, this woman I've trusted for nearly a decade, and for the first time, I see a stranger. Or maybe I'm finally seeing the real Lena. I want my name on the Aurelia contract, I say, as creative director and concept originator. Of course. She smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. We're partners, Mia. Equal partners. I don't believe her, but I've run out of fight for today. When the Aurelia contract arrives a week later, my name isn't on it. Not as creative director, not as designer, not at all. I should have walked away then. Should have demanded justice or at least recognition. Should have stood up for myself. But Lena has a way of making me doubt everything, my talents, my perceptions, my sanity. And when I threaten to take legal action, she simply slides a folder across her desk to me. Before you do anything rash, she says quietly. Inside are emails I supposedly sent to clients at 3 a.m., rambling and unprofessional. Screenshots of social media posts I never wrote, criticizing competitors. Photos of me looking disheveled and disoriented at industry events. Events where Lena had encouraged me to loosen up and have another drink. You need help, Mia, she says, her voice dripping with concern. I've been covering for you for months. Ask yourself, who would believe you over me? Who would want to work with you after I share these? She doesn't say if. She says after. This is blackmail, I whisper. This is me protecting you from yourself, she corrects, and protecting our business, the business we built. I take the folder and leave without another word. That night, I call our college friend Jade, hoping for an ally. I'm worried about Lena, Jade says before I can even explain why I'm calling. She said you've been struggling, that you're accusing her of stealing your work. My stomach drops. She told you that? She's concerned, Mia. We all are. She said you've been having episodes. I hang up and try another friend. Then another. Each conversation follows the same pattern. Lena has gotten to all of them first, painting me as unstable, paranoid, possibly dangerous to myself. When I check our company bank accounts the next day, I discover they've been emptied. All client contracts have been transferred to a new entity, Lena Walsh Creative. Chen and Walsh Creative no longer exists, except on the lease to our office, where I'm still responsible for half the rent. The final blow comes 2 months later. I'm in my apartment, all I have left, scrolling mindlessly through Instagram when I see it. Lena accepting the Dan Dad Pencil, one of the most prestigious awards in advertising for the Aurelia campaign, my campaign. In her acceptance speech, she thanks everyone from her first-grade art teacher to her doorman. My name never passes her lips. I close the app and open a bottle of vodka instead. Then another. I run a bath, scorching hot the way I like it, and sink into the water with the bottle. I think about everything I've lost. My business. My reputation. My best friend. My life's work. I slide under the water and close my eyes, too tired to fight anymore. The world goes quiet, peaceful. I don't resist as my lungs begin to burn. Let go, a voice whispers, just let go. So I do. I jolt awake, gasping for air, water streaming down my face, but it's not bathwater. It's from the leaky shower head in my college dorm bathroom. The same shower head that drove me crazy senior year because the maintenance staff never fixed it properly. I'm standing in front of the sink, toothbrush frozen halfway to my mouth, staring at my reflection in the cloudy mirror. My hair is longer than it's been in years, with the awful ombre highlights I got during junior year spring break. My face is younger, fuller, no dark circles, no fine lines beginning at the corners of my eyes. No fucking way, I whisper. You say something? A voice calls from the bedroom. I grip the edge of the sink to steady myself. I know that voice. I've both loved and hated that voice for nearly a decade. I step carefully out of the bathroom, and there she is, sprawled across her twin bed, flipping through a fashion magazine. 21-year-old Lena Walsh, my roommate and supposed best friend. Her dark hair is pulled into a messy bun, her face free of makeup, a rare sight in the years to come when her public image becomes meticulously curated. You look like you've seen a ghost, she says, not looking up from her magazine. I am the ghost, I think wildly. I died. I drowned. This isn't real. Just didn't sleep well, I managed to say. She glances up now, concern crossing her features. Genuine concern, or at least a convincing performance of it. Still stressing about the thesis project. Mia, you've got to relax. We have all semester. The thesis project. Our joint marketing thesis that received the departmental award, with only Lena's name on it in my dream? Vision? Previous life? Right, I say faintly. The thesis. I retreat back into the bathroom, locking the door behind me. I splash cold water on my face, hoping to shock myself back to reality, whichever reality is real. But nothing changes. I'm still here, in my senior year dorm room, 6 years in the past. I died. I must have died in that bathtub, and this is what? Heaven? Hell? Purgatory? Or a second chance? I stare at my reflection for a long time. If this is real, if somehow I've been sent back to the beginning, then I know what's coming. I know how the story ends if I don't change it. I know what Lena becomes, what she does to me, what I let her do to me. Not this time, I whisper to my reflection, echoing the words I haven't said yet in Times Square, 6 years from now. Not this time. I don't confront Lena immediately. What would I say? Hey, I'm from the future where you destroy my life and drive me to suicide, so I'm keeping my distance now? Besides, I need to be sure this isn't some elaborate hallucination, some last desperate fantasy my dying brain conjured up in that bathtub. But as days pass, then weeks, the reality of my situation becomes undeniable. I'm back in college. I have a second chance. And this time, I'm going to protect myself. I start small, observing Lena with new eyes. Was she always this way, or did something change later? Were there signs I missed? It doesn't take long to see the patterns. The way she casually takes credit for group project ideas in class. How she positions herself in photographs, subtly pushing others, including me, to the edges of the frame. The calculated way she collects people with useful talents or connections, showering them with attention until she's extracted what she needs. I begin quietly documenting everything. I save emails, record conversations when possible, keep meticulous notes about our interactions. Not in a paranoid way, I'm careful not to seem obsessive, but with the methodical precision of someone building a case. Simultaneously, I begin establishing my own relationships with professors and industry contacts. In my previous life, Lena was my social conduit, introducing me to everyone. This time, I force myself out of my comfort zone, attending office hours, participating in class discussions, going to networking events alone. It's terrifying at first. My social anxiety hasn't magically disappeared with my rebirth. But something has changed. I know what I'm capable of. I've seen my work succeed on a global stage. I've run campaigns that won awards. The confidence of my future self begins to bleed into my present actions. You're different lately, Lena observes one night as we're working on assignments in our room. More assertive. I shrug, not looking up from my laptop. Just focused on the future. Speaking of the future, she says, setting aside her textbook, we should talk about our thesis. I was thinking we could do something on experiential marketing. Actually, I interrupt, I've already started working on a concept for using AR in traditional media campaigns. She blinks, momentarily thrown. I've never taken the lead like this before. Oh, well, let me see what you've got and I'd like to present it to Professor Winters first, I say. Get her feedback before we commit. Lena's smile tightens almost imperceptibly. We always brainstorm together first, Mia. That's our process. I'm trying something new, I reply evenly. But if you have your own concept to pitch, we could present both and see which one Winters prefers. It's a challenge and we both know it. I'm changing the rules of our relationship. For a moment, I glimpse something cold and calculating in her eyes. The Lena I came to fear in my previous life, before she masks it with a laugh. Look at you, all independent. Fine, we'll do it your way. She returns to her textbook, adding casually, just remember who got you that internship at Leo Burnett last summer. The implied debt hangs in the air between us. In my old life, I would have immediately backpedaled, offering to incorporate her ideas, desperate to avoid conflict and maintain her approval. This time, I simply nod and continue working. Later that week, I meet with Professor Winters, an industry veteran who now teaches advanced marketing courses. I lay out my AR concept, explaining how it could revolutionize print campaigns by bridging digital and traditional media. This is impressive work, Mia, she says, studying my mock-ups. Much more sophisticated than what I usually see at the undergraduate level. Thank you, I say, then add carefully, I wanted to ask about thesis partnerships. Lena and I were planning to work together, but I'm concerned about delineating our individual contributions. Winters raises an eyebrow. That's unusually foresighted of you. Most students only worry about that after disputes arise. I've heard stories, I say vaguely. Smart. She nods approvingly. I'll arrange for separate evaluation criteria if you decide to proceed together. Each of you will need to document your specific contributions. That would be perfect, thank you. When I tell Lena about this arrangement, presenting it as Professor Winter's idea rather than mine, she's clearly irritated but can't object without seeming unreasonable. Fine, she says tightly. But you know we work best as a team, Mia. We always have. I smile and agree while thinking, that's because your definition of team meant me doing the work and you taking the credit. It's exhausting, this constant chess match. Sometimes I miss the simplicity of our old friendship, before I knew what she was capable of. Sometimes when she laughs or shares a secret, or helps me through a panic attack before a presentation, I almost convince myself that maybe this time will be different. But then, I catch her showing my preliminary sketches to a professor without mentioning me. Or I overhear her telling a visiting industry speaker about her AR concept, and I remember why I'm being so careful. You never used to keep your work so organized, she comments one day, eyeing the meticulous folders on my laptop when I quickly close one as she approaches. New year, new me, I reply lightly. She doesn't know that those folders contain documentation of every instance where she's tried to claim my work as her own. Every email, every conversation, every misunderstanding. Building a case I hope I'll never need to use, but will be ready if I do. The most difficult part isn't protecting my work. It's protecting my heart. Despite everything I know, there are moments when I still find myself craving her approval, her affection. 6 years of betrayal can't entirely erase the genuine connection we once had, or that I thought we had. During one late-night study session, as we're both punchy from exhaustion, Lena throws a wadded paper at my head and says, "Remember when we snuck onto the roof of the Brennan building to watch the meteor shower freshman year? And you were so scared of getting caught, you actually brought a fake doctor's note in case we needed an excuse." I laugh because I do remember. It was before everything, before the manipulation began. Or before I noticed it, anyway. We should do something like that again, she says, suddenly serious. We've both been so focused on classes and the future lately. I miss us just being us. For a moment, I waver. What if I'm wrong? What if this time could be different? What if by expecting betrayal, I'm creating it? Then I remember the cold, dark water closing over my head, the complete despair of having lost everything, the hollow acceptance of death as a relief. Maybe after midterms, I say with a smile that doesn't reach my eyes. Right now, I need to focus. I've learned the hard way that with Lena, letting my guard down isn't an option. Not if I want to survive. The first real test comes 3 weeks before the end of the semester. Our thesis project is nearly complete, a revolutionary campaign concept using augmented reality to enhance traditional print advertisements. My concept, my designs, my technical specifications, with Lena contributing the market research and financial projections. We've documented everything meticulously, per Professor Winter's requirements. Each component is clearly attributed to its creator. We're scheduled for our final presentation next week, with both of us presenting our respective portions. Then I get a text from Jacob, a classmate in another section. Hey, just saw Lena heading into Winters' office with your project boards. Thought you were presenting next week? My heart races as I grab my laptop and sprint across campus, ignoring the curious stares of students lounging on the quad. I'm out of breath by the time I reach the marketing department, just in time to see Lena emerging from Winter's office with a satisfied smile. "Oh, Mia," she says, startled to see me. "What are you doing here?" "I could ask you the same thing," I say between ragged breaths. Jacob saw you bringing our project boards to Winters. Oh, that. She waves dismissively. I was just getting some preliminary feedback. Winters had a cancellation, so I thought I'd take advantage. Without me? You were in your digital media class? I didn't want to disturb you. Her expression is all innocent concern. I was going to tell you everything later, of course. Of course, I echo, not believing a word. What did she say? She loved it, particularly the AR integration. My part of the project, the part Lena had initially dismissed as too complicated for the average consumer. Great, I say, then head for Winter's office. Wait, where are you going? Lena calls after me. To get her feedback directly, I reply without turning back. Since I'm here now. Professor Winters is sorting papers when I knock on her open door. She looks up, surprised. Mia, twice in one day. My suspicion confirmed, I step inside. I understand Lena was just here showing you our thesis project? Yes, very impressive work. You two make quite a team. She gestures to the project boards leaning against her wall. The AR component is particularly innovative. Thank you. That's actually my contribution, I say, carefully watching her reaction. I'm curious what Lena told you about the division of work. Winter's brow furrows slightly. She presented it as a joint effort, though. She hesitates. She did seem to speak about all aspects of the project with equal ownership. I see. I keep my voice neutral. Did she mention that we're scheduled to present together next week? With clearly defined sections based on our individual contributions? Understanding dawns in Winter's eyes. No, she didn't. In fact, she implied this was a final presentation, just missing you due to a scheduling conflict. I nod, unsurprised. I'd like to show you something, if I may. I open my laptop and pull up a folder containing all my working files for the project, complete with timestamps and revision history. These are my original design files for all the AR components. You'll notice the first versions date back to early September, before Lena and I even officially partnered for the thesis. Winters examines the files carefully. Very thorough documentation, Mia. I've learned to be careful, I say simply. She studies me with new interest. Has this been an ongoing issue? Let's just say I wanted to ensure proper attribution for our work. Before she can respond, Lena appears in the doorway, slightly breathless. There you are! I've been looking all over. I thought we were meeting at the library. The lie is so smooth, so natural, I almost doubt my own memory. We never had plans to meet at the library. Lena, Professor Winters says, her tone professionally neutral. I was just discussing with Mia the presentation process for next week. I understand you'll both be presenting your respective contributions? Lena doesn't miss a beat. Absolutely, I was just giving you a preview since you mentioned being curious about the AR component. Mia's done amazing work with it. The sudden attribution, the generous praise, it's all damage control. She knows she's been caught. I'm glad to hear that, Winters says. In fact, I'd like to see more of Mia's process work. Why don't you leave these boards with me and both of you can come back for the scheduled presentation next week? On our silent walk back to the dorm, Lena finally speaks. You didn't have to embarrass me in front of Winters. Embarrass you? I stop walking. You tried to present our entire project without me. I was giving her a preview. Stop lying, Lena. I saw the text messages on your phone. Her eyes widen. I'm bluffing, but she doesn't know that. You've been planning this for weeks, I continue, setting up a private meeting, bringing all the materials, trying to take credit for my work. Again. Her expression shifts, the mask of innocence dropping for a split second to reveal something cold and calculating before she recovers. Again! What are you talking about? This is the first time we've worked on a thesis together. Right, because in this timeline, we haven't gone through the years of her slowly stealing my work, my clients, my life. You know what I mean? I say, backtracking. This isn't the first group project where you've tried to take more credit than you deserve. Wow, she lets out a humorless laugh. Is that really what you think of me, your best friend? Best friends don't do what you just tried to do. She steps closer, her voice dropping. I was trying to help us, Mia. Winters has pull with the top agencies. I was setting us both up for success. By presenting without me? By claiming my work as yours? She stops, recalibrating. Fine. I got carried away. I saw an opportunity and took it, but I would have made sure you got credit in the final presentation. She touches my arm. You know I always look out for you. And there it is. The manipulation, the gaslighting, the way she always positions herself as my protector rather than my exploiter. In my previous life, I would have accepted this explanation, desperate to believe in our friendship. This time, I step back, removing her hand from my arm. I don't need you to look out for me, I say quietly. I need you to respect me as your equal. If that's not possible, then maybe we shouldn't be partners. Panic flashes in her eyes. Don't be dramatic. Of course we're partners. She softens her tone. Look, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. It won't happen again. But we both know it will. The difference is that this time, I'll be ready. For the rest of the semester, our relationship settles into an uneasy détente. On the surface, we're still Chen and Walsh, the inseparable duo. But underneath, we're both watching each other carefully, recalculating, reassessing. When our thesis presentation day arrives, Professor Winters makes a point of calling on each of us separately to present our distinct contributions. Lena is all charm and confidence, presenting her market research and financial projections. Then it's my turn to present the creative concept and technical execution. As I speak, I notice Lena's smile tightening almost imperceptibly. I'm not the same nervous, self-effacing Mia she's used to. This version of me speaks with authority about my work, makes eye contact with the panel, and doesn't minimize my contributions with qualifiers like, it's just an idea, or it might not be good enough. Afterward, we receive the highest grade in the class, with special commendation for the AR integration, my component. As we're packing up, Professor Winters approaches me. Excellent work today, Mia, she says. I have a colleague at Davidson & Bell who's looking for a creative intern with exactly your skill set. Would you be interested? Davidson & Bell is one of the top 5 agencies in the country. In my previous life, I didn't even apply there, convinced I wasn't qualified. Now I know better. Absolutely, I reply. Thank you for the recommendation. Winters hands me a business card. Mention my name when you call. They'll be expecting to hear from you. As she walks away, I feel Lena's eyes on me. When I turn, her expression is a complex mix of pride, resentment, and calculation. Davidson & Bell, she says, her tone deliberately casual. That's impressive. Of course, we always planned to start our own agency after graduation. Did we? I keep my voice light. I don't remember actually deciding that. It was always the plan, Mia. Chen and Walsh Creative. She says it as if it's already real, already established. We're a perfect team. You create, I sell. You hide in the background, I handle the spotlight. Exactly the dynamic that destroyed me once before. Maybe, I say noncommittally, but I think we should explore all our options first. Get some experience at established agencies. Since when are you so ambitious? There's an edge to her question. People change, I reply simply and continue gathering my materials. That night, in our dorm room, Lena acts as if our exchange never happened. She's back to her charming, enthusiastic self, planning our hypothetical agency, assigning roles, sketching logos with our names side by side. Equal partners, she keeps saying, a dynamic duo. I smile and nod and make the appropriate noises of agreement. But I've already decided I won't be partnering with Lena Walsh in this lifetime. And I need to start creating distance now, before graduation, before we get entangled in a business relationship I know will end in my destruction. So I call Davidson & Bell the next day and set up an interview for their summer internship program. I don't tell Lena. When the acceptance comes 2 weeks later, I keep that to myself, too. It's the first major divergence from my previous life's path, the first real change in a timeline I'm determined to rewrite. You must be Mia, a voice says behind me at the department's end-of-year showcase. I've heard a lot about you. I turn to find a tall guy with messy dark hair and a camera slung around his neck. Something about him seems vaguely familiar, though I can't place him. All good things, I hope, I reply. Mostly that you're some kind of AR design prodigy. He grins, extending his hand. I'm Ryan Cooper, photography department. The name clicks into place. Ryan Cooper. In my previous life, I met him briefly at a party during the senior year. Lena had steered me away almost immediately, claiming he had a bad reputation. We'd never spoken again. Nice to meet you, I say, shaking his hand. Are you showcasing tonight? Over in the East Wing. He gestures with his camera. Experimental portrait series. Not as groundbreaking as augmented reality, but I try. I doubt that, I say with a genuine smile. There's something refreshingly straightforward about him. Show me? As we walk toward the photography display, I spot Lena across the room, deep in conversation with a visiting executive from a major agency. Her eyes flick to me, then to Ryan, narrowing slightly before she returns to her networking. Ryan's work is stunning. Portraits that capture vulnerability and strength simultaneously, using innovative lighting techniques I've never seen before. We spend almost an hour discussing his process, my AR concepts, and the potential intersection of our mediums. We should collaborate sometime, he suggests as the showcase begins winding down. I've been thinking about ways to integrate AR into portrait photography, but I need a technical wizard to pull it off. I'd like that, I say, surprising myself with how much I mean it. As we exchange numbers, Lena materializes at my side. There you are, she says, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. I've been looking everywhere. Justin Blackwood from Gray wants to meet you. Justin Blackwood, I repeat, genuinely impressed. He's a legend in the industry. He saw our thesis presentation and was blown away by the AR concept. She tugs at my arm. Come on, he doesn't have much time. I turn to Ryan apologetically. I should go, he says with an understanding nod. Duty calls. I'll text you about that collab. As Lena pulls me away, she mutters, Ryan Cooper? Really, Mia? What about him? He's bad news. Dated half the visual arts department. Plus, I heard he got caught plagiarizing someone's work freshman year. The accusation is so ironic coming from her that I almost laugh. That doesn't sound right. Trust me, she insists. I'm just looking out for you. Looking out for me. Her favorite phrase, her perpetual justification for controlling me. I can look out for myself, I reply, pulling my arm free from her grip. Where's Justin Blackwood? Her eyes flash with irritation, but she leads me to the executive, smoothly transitioning back into her charming, professional persona. The meeting goes well. Blackwood is genuinely interested in my AR concepts, but I find my thoughts drifting back to Ryan and our conversation. Later that night, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. It's Ryan. Coffee tomorrow to discuss that collaboration? Unless your friend has convinced you I'm an axe murderer. I smile at the screen. Coffee sounds great. And I make my own judgments about people. The next morning, as I'm getting ready to leave, Lena eyes me suspiciously. Where are you off to so early on a Saturday? In my previous life, I would have told her everything, sought her approval, asked her to come along. Meeting a friend, I say vaguely, and leave before she can invite herself. Ryan is waiting at a small coffee shop off campus, sketchbook open in front of him. We spend hours brainstorming ways to merge his photography with my AR concepts. It's exhilarating to collaborate with someone who respects my ideas without trying to claim them, who builds on my thoughts rather than redirecting them into his own glory. You know, Ryan says as we're wrapping up, I've wanted to talk to you for ages, ever since that workshop you gave on digital integration last semester. Really, why didn't you? He hesitates. This is going to sound weird, but every time I tried, Lena would run interference. Very protective of you. A chill runs down my spine. What do you mean exactly? Like I'd come over to say hi and she'd physically step between us. Or tell me you were busy, stressed, not feeling well. After a while, I got the message and stopped trying. He studies my expression. I'm guessing you had no idea. None, I admit. That's disturbing. I figured maybe you were dating or something. God, no, I say quickly. We're just roommates, friends. Even that last word feels like a half-truth now. Ryan nods, then says carefully, Look, I know it's not my place, but Lena has a bit of a reputation. What kind of reputation? He seems to debate whether to continue, then sighs. My freshman year roommate, Eli, was a brilliant writer. He and Lena collaborated on some literary magazine. Next thing I know, Eli's work is being published under her name, and she's telling everyone he had a breakdown and dropped out. His eyes meet mine. Sound familiar? My heart pounds. Did he have a breakdown? After what she did? Yeah, eventually. But not before. Before, he was just a talented guy who trusted the wrong person. I think about the bathtub, about the despair that drove me to slide under the water. What happened to him? Transferred to UCLA. He's doing better now, I hear. Publishes under a pseudonym. Ryan leans forward. Look, I'm not trying to cause drama. Just be careful. I am, I assure him. More than you know. Over the next few weeks, Ryan becomes a fixture in my life. We meet regularly to work on our collaboration project, but our conversations extend far beyond art and technology. I learn about his family in Seattle, his ambitions to revolutionize documentary photography, his wry sense of humor that matches my own. For the first time in years in both my lives, I have a friendship that doesn't feel transactional or one-sided. That doesn't require me to make myself smaller for the other person to shine. Lena notices, of course. Her tactics range from subtle, scheduling urgent meetings that conflict with my plans with Ryan, to overt, showing up uninvited when we're working together, inserting herself into our collaboration. I've been thinking about your project, she announces one afternoon, barging into the studio space Ryan and I have booked. What if instead of just portraits, we expand it to a full campaign? I could handle the strategy, Mia does the AR, and Ryan, you take the photos, a Chen Walsh-Cooper collaboration. The presumption is breathtaking, the territorial marking unmistakable. Actually, Ryan says, his tone pleasant but firm, we've already mapped out the scope. It's a focused artistic project, not a commercial campaign. But it could be, Lena persists. I've got contacts at... Lena, I interrupt. This is Ryan's project that he's kindly invited me to collaborate on. It's not a Chen and Walsh production. Her smile freezes. I see. She gathers her bag, movements deliberately controlled. Well, don't let me interrupt your artistic vision. After she leaves, Ryan lets out a low whistle. That was intense. That was Lena, I say simply. She really doesn't like sharing you, does she? I'm not hers to share, I reply, the words feeling like a declaration of independence. As graduation approaches, my friendship with Ryan deepens, while my relationship with Lena grows increasingly strained. We still maintain the appearance of best friends, still make plans for a future we both know will never materialize. But there's a new wariness between us, a recognition that something fundamental has shifted. The night before graduation, as we're packing up our dorm room, Lena discovers the Davidson and Bell acceptance letter I've kept hidden all these months. What is this? She demands, waving the paper. You accepted an internship without telling me. What about our agency? I never actually agreed to start an agency right after graduation, I remind her. I always said we should get experience first. At separate agencies? Mia, the whole point was to start building our brand together. Her brand, I think, but don't say. Instead, I take the letter from her hand. This is a huge opportunity for me. I thought you'd be happy. Happy that you're abandoning our dream? Abandoning me? Her voice rises. This is because of him, isn't it? Ryan's turned you against me. This has nothing to do with Ryan, I say calmly. This is about what's best for my career. Your career, she laughs bitterly. You wouldn't have a career without me. Who pushed you to present your ideas in class when you were too scared to speak up? Who introduced you to every industry contact you have? Who's been carrying you for 4 years? And there it is, the real Lena, emerging from behind the mask of friendship. In my previous life, this moment came years later, after she'd already drained me of my creativity, my confidence, my will to live. This time I'm still whole, still strong. I think we both know that's not true, I say quietly. But if that's really how you see me, as someone you've been carrying, then it's definitely better that we go our separate ways professionally. Fine, she snaps, but don't come crawling back when you realize you can't make it without me. I won't, I think, because this time, I know exactly what I'm capable of. Graduation day arrives with its caps and gowns and speeches about the future. Lena and I pose for photos, arms around each other, smiles fixed in place, the perfect best friends for public consumption. But when she later posts the photos online, I notice something familiar. In the main image she's chosen, I'm partially cropped out, just enough to be present. But with Lena clearly centered, clearly the focus. Some patterns never change, but this time I've changed enough to break free of them. My first day at Davidson and Bell feels like stepping into an alternate universe. In my previous life, I joined Lena in a tiny rented office space after graduation, launching Chen and Walsh Creative on a wing and a prayer, and her parents' generous loan that somehow never appeared in our business documentation. Now I'm walking into a sleek high-rise in downtown Manhattan, employee badge around my neck, part of a prestigious creative team. My supervisor, Alexis, is a no-nonsense creative director who built her reputation on innovative digital campaigns. Your AR thesis project is exactly what we've been trying to develop for our luxury clients, she tells me during my orientation. I want you to run with it. Build out a proper prototype we can pitch next quarter. Really? I can't hide my surprise. But I'm just an intern. She raises an eyebrow. An intern with more vision than half my senior designers. Don't undersell yourself, Mia. It's a bad habit in this industry, especially for women. Don't undersell yourself. Words I've never heard in a professional context before. Certainly never from Lena, who benefited from my self-doubt, who subtly nurtured it while pretending to support me. I throw myself into the work, expanding my AR concept into a comprehensive campaign platform. The creative freedom is intoxicating. So is the recognition when I present ideas in meetings, people actually listen. My name appears on project credits. My contributions are acknowledged, not appropriated. 2 months into my internship, I receive a text from Lena. How's the corporate drone life? Ready to break free yet? I stare at my phone, unsure how to respond. We've barely spoken since graduation, our communication reduced to obligatory likes on social media posts. I know from her Instagram that she's launched a solo venture, Lena Walsh Creative, skipping the Chen entirely this time around. It's actually incredible, I finally reply, working on some major AR campaigns. Her response comes quickly. Sounds like they're exploiting your talent. You should be building your own brand, not making some conglomerate richer. Classic Lena, trying to make something positive sound negative, trying to make me doubt my choices. In my previous life, this tactic worked flawlessly. This time, I see right through it. I'm learning a ton and getting great mentorship, I write back. How's your new agency going? She sends a string of enthusiastic messages about her growing client roster and creative freedom, painting a picture of entrepreneurial success. But I notice she doesn't mention any specific clients or campaigns. Knowing Lena, that's telling. I show the exchange to Ryan over dinner that weekend. He's landed a position at a digital media company, photographing for their editorial features while building his artistic portfolio on the side. Our collaboration project won recognition at a student showcase, opening doors for both of us. She's fishing, he says, sliding my phone back across the table. Checking if you're vulnerable. If you regret not partnering with her. I know, I sigh. Part of me feels guilty, like I abandoned her. After what you've told me about her, Mia, she's toxic. You made the right call. I know that rationally, but emotionally, I trail off. You invested years in that friendship, Ryan says gently. It's normal to grieve it, even if it was unhealthy. His understanding means more than he knows. In my previous life, by this point, I had no one to validate my perceptions, no one to confirm that my feelings were reasonable. Lena had isolated me so completely that her reality became mine. 3 weeks later, I discovered just how right I was to trust my instincts. A junior copywriter at Davidson and Bell approaches me after a meeting, looking uncomfortable. I'm not sure if I should tell you this, she begins hesitantly, but someone's been calling around asking questions about your work, specifically your AR platform. My stomach drops. What kind of questions? Technical details, implementation timelines, budget specifics. She shifts nervously. The caller identified herself as your business partner, said she was gathering information for a pitch you're working on together. I don't have a business partner, I say flatly. Did she give a name? Lena something, Walsh, I think? Of course. In my previous life, this is exactly how she operated. Leveraging our past connection to extract information, then using it to undercut me. Only this time, she's doing it without even the pretense of a legitimate partnership. Thank you for telling me, I say. If she calls again, please let me know. That evening, I call Lena directly. No texts, no warnings. I want to hear her voice when I confront her. Mia, she exclaims too brightly. I was just thinking about you. Were you? I keep my tone neutral. While you were calling my colleagues asking for proprietary information about my projects? A brief silence. I don't know what you're talking about. Stop lying, Lena. Multiple people have confirmed you've been claiming to be my business partner to get inside information on my AR platform. Another pause, then a shift in tactics. Oh, that. I was just trying to see if we could collaborate. You know, bring some of your technical expertise to my clients. I thought it would be a win-win. Then why not call me directly? Why lie about our relationship? I didn't think they'd talk to me otherwise. Her voice turns plaintive. Mia, I miss working with you. We were such a great team. The manipulation is so transparent now that I can hardly believe I ever fell for it. We're not a team anymore, Lena, and what you're doing isn't collaboration. It's corporate espionage. That's a bit dramatic, don't you think? If you contact anyone at Davidson and Bell again, claiming any association with me, I'll file a formal complaint. Are we clear? Her tone instantly hardens. When did you get so cold, so corporate? This isn't you, Mia. No, I agree. It's not the me you knew. The me you could manipulate and use. I've changed. Because of him, she hisses. Ryan's poisoned you against me. This has nothing to do with Ryan. This is about your behavior, your choices. Fine, she snaps. Good luck with your precious corporate career. When it all falls apart, don't expect me to be there to pick up the pieces. She hangs up and I let out a long, shaky breath. In my previous life, a confrontation like this would have devastated me, sent me into a spiral of guilt and self-doubt. Now I just feel relieved, clearer, more certain than ever that I've made the right choice. The next day, I meet with Alexis and the legal team at Davidson and Bell, explaining the situation without embellishment. They take it seriously, documenting the instances of Lena's deception and sending her a formal cease and desist letter. This happens more often than you'd think, Alexis tells me afterward, especially to young talent. People trying to piggyback on your ideas, your connections. You did the right thing coming forward. I just hope it's the end of it, I say. But I know better. With Lena, it's never the end. It's just the beginning of a new strategy, a new angle of attack. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, I start hearing rumors. Subtle, insidious whispers about my reliability, my mental health, my tendency to crack under pressure. The same tactics she used in my previous life, the same methodical destruction of my professional reputation. But this time, I have something I didn't have before. Allies who know my work, my character, my true capabilities, and documentation, emails, texts, witness accounts of Lena's pattern of behavior. When a potential client mentions having heard I'm difficult to work with, I don't retreat in shame as I once would have. Instead, I address it head on. That's interesting, I say calmly. I'm curious where you heard that, as it contradicts my performance reviews and client feedback. The client looks embarrassed. Just industry chatter. A designer I spoke with, Lena Walsh, mentioned having had a challenging partnership with you. I nod, unsurprised. Miss Walsh and I were college roommates, but never professional partners, despite her claims. She's been formally warned about misrepresenting our relationship. I'm happy to provide references from my actual colleagues and clients. The directness works. The rumors gradually fade as Lena's credibility, not mine, becomes suspect. By the time my internship converts to a full-time position 6 months later, her campaign against me has largely collapsed under its own weight. On my 1-year anniversary at Davidson and Bell, I receive a large envelope in the mail. Inside is a magazine, the prestigious Industry Innovators issue, with a post-it note attached. Thought you should see this. R. I flip to the marked page and feel a cold sense of déjà vu. There's Lena, profiled as a rising star, showcasing a new campaign that looks eerily familiar. Not identical to my AR platform, but close enough that anyone familiar with both would see the inspiration. At the bottom of the page, a quote: "I've always been fascinated by the intersection of traditional media and augmented reality. It's a vision I've been developing since my college days." I should be angry. In my previous life, this kind of theft sent me into despair. But now I just feel a strange sense of validation. Lena hasn't changed. Still taking, still claiming, still unable to create without appropriating. I've moved on, but she's still fighting the same battle, still defining herself in relation to me. I text Ryan a single word: seen. His reply comes quickly: "Want me to help you burn effigies, or are you taking the high road?" I smile despite everything. Definitely the high road. I'm already working on AR 2.0. She can have the prototype. It's true. While Lena is still recycling concepts I developed years ago, I'm pushing forward, creating new work, building a reputation on innovation rather than imitation. The divergence between our paths grows wider every day, me ascending at a leading agency, her struggling to maintain the facade of success without the substance to back it up. In my previous life, our paths converged toward my destruction. In this one, they're separating toward my salvation. And with each day that passes, each project I complete, each relationship I build on mutual respect rather than exploitation, I feel myself healing from wounds that, in this timeline, were prevented rather than merely survived. Mia Chen, the AR guru herself? The woman extends her hand across the bar, eyes bright with recognition. "I'm a huge fan of your Cartier campaign. Completely revolutionary." 5 years after graduation, this happens regularly, being recognized at industry events, approached by admirers of my work. In my previous life, by this point, I was a ghost behind Lena's growing fame, unacknowledged and slowly disappearing. Now I'm a creative director at Davidson and Bell, known for pushing the boundaries of digital integration in traditional marketing. "Thank you," I say, shaking her hand. "That was a fun project." "Fun! It won 3 Clios!" She laughs. "You're too modest." Ryan appears at my side, sliding a fresh drink across the bar. "She really is," he agrees, dropping a kiss on my cheek. "Been trying to cure her of that for years." We've been officially together for 3 years now, after 2 years of friendship that gradually deepened into something more. He's built his own successful career as a commercial photographer while maintaining his artistic practice on the side. We collaborate occasionally, his visuals, my AR innovations, but maintain our professional independence. The woman, a creative strategist from a competing agency, chatters excitedly about a panel she'd like me to join next month. As we talk, I notice my phone lighting up with a text. It's from Alexis, my former supervisor, now the executive creative director. "Call me tomorrow. Major opportunity I want to discuss with you first." I excuse myself to respond quickly. "Will do. Everything okay?" "Better than okay. Aurelia account is up for grabs. I want you to lead the pitch." My heart stutters. Aurelia, the luxury fashion brand that in my previous life became the instrument of my professional destruction. The account Lena stole from me, presented without me, won awards for. Absolutely, I type, hands slightly shaking. I have some ideas already. When I return to the conversation, Ryan gives me a questioning look. I mouth later and refocus on the industry chatter around us. Later that night, in the quiet of our apartment, I tell Ryan about the Aurelia opportunity and what it means given my strange double history. "It feels like a test," I admit. "Like the universe is saying, let's see if you can get it right this time." "You will," he says confidently. "You're not the same person you were back then. Neither version of you." He's right. The shy, insecure Mia who let Lena manipulate her is long gone. So is the broken, desperate Mia who slid under the bathwater. This version of me has built a career on my own terms, established healthy boundaries, learned to value my work and demand appropriate recognition. Yet as I begin working on the Aurelia pitch, I can't shake a nagging sense of unease. It's too perfect, too symmetrical. The same opportunity 5 years later with everything else transformed. The storyteller in me knows that when a narrative circles back to its beginning, it's usually setting up for a dramatic confrontation. And sure enough, 3 weeks into our pitch preparation, Alexis calls me into her office. "Just got word. she says without preamble. We're pitching against Walsh Creative. My stomach drops. Lena's agency? You know her, right? Old college friend? Roommate, I correct automatically. We haven't spoken in years. Alexis studies me carefully. Is this going to be a problem? The industry's small and competing against former colleagues is inevitable, but if there's bad blood, no problem, I assure her, projecting more confidence than I feel. It was a long time ago. But as I walk back to my office, memories flood in. Not just from my previous life, but from this one too. Lena trying to present our thesis without me. Lena calling my colleagues for confidential information. Lena spreading rumors about my stability. Lena copying my AR concepts. 5 years of distance hasn't changed who she is. And now we're about to go head-to-head for the same high-profile account that once catalyzed my downfall. I should be terrified. Instead, I find myself strangely energized. This isn't just an opportunity to win a prestigious client. It's a chance to finally face my past on my own terms, with my full power intact. That evening, I start researching Lena's recent work. Her agency has grown, though not to the scale she probably hoped. She's built a reputation for flashy campaigns that generate buzz, but don't always deliver results. Her client list is decent, but plagued by high turnover. Brands sign with her for the initial splash, then move on when the substance doesn't match the style. You're obsessing, Ryan observes, finding me still at my laptop at midnight. I'm doing competitor research, I correct him. Mia. He closes my laptop gently. This isn't just about Aurelia, is it? I sigh, leaning back in my chair. It's about proving something. To myself, maybe. That I can face her and win on my own merit. You don't need to prove anything. You've already succeeded beyond what either of you could have imagined back in college. I know that rationally, but emotionally, you want the showdown, he finishes for me. The final confrontation where the hero defeats the villain. I laugh despite myself. That sounds so dramatic when you say it. Because it is dramatic. He pulls me up from my chair, wrapping his arms around me. Just remember that your success isn't defined by beating Lena. It's defined by being authentically you, creating work you're proud of, building relationships that nourish instead of drain you. I rest my head against his chest, listening to the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. When did you get so wise? Probably around the time you started letting yourself be brilliant without apology. He kisses the top of my head. Now come to bed. Creative geniuses need sleep too. As I drift off that night, I realize Ryan is right. This pitch isn't about Lena or our shared past or settling old scores. It's about creating something remarkable, something true to my vision. If I focus on beating her, I'm still allowing her to define me. And I've worked too hard to break free of that dynamic. So I pour myself into developing a campaign concept that pushes even my own boundaries. I assemble a dream team at Davidson & Bell, the best strategists, designers, and content creators. Ryan agrees to shoot the sample content. His distinctive photographic style, adding a layer of artistry to the technical innovation. For 6 weeks, we refine, test, revise, and perfect. I'm so immersed in the creative process that I almost forget about Lena, about our impending face-off, about the weight of history bearing down on this moment. Almost. The morning of the Aurelia pitch arrives clear and cold, the kind of crisp autumn day that energizes rather than drains. I dress carefully in a midnight blue suit. Professional but distinctive, exactly like the campaign we've developed. Ready for the big day? Ryan asks, handing me coffee in my favorite mug, the one he gave me when I was promoted to creative director. As ready as I'll ever be. I check my bag one last time. Backup drive with our presentation, printed leave-behinds, tablet for the AR demonstration. All there. No chance of missing files this time. No opportunity for sabotage. Davidson & Bell is scheduled for 2 p.m., I tell Ryan. Walsh Creative is at 11 a.m. We won't cross paths. Probably for the best, he replies, giving me a quick kiss. Break a leg, call me as soon as you're done. Will do. I adjust my bag strap, hesitating at the door. Is it weird that part of me actually wants to see her? Not weird at all, he says gently. She was important to you for a long time in both your lives. Closure is natural to want. Closure, the word resonates. In my previous life, there was no closure, just a slow, agonizing erosion of my identity, until I literally couldn't take it anymore. In this life, we've been circling each other from a distance, competitors, but not quite enemies. Our paths deliberately kept separate until today. I arrive at Aurelia's headquarters an hour early, planning to use the extra time to set up our technical demonstration. The receptionist directs me to a small conference room to wait. Your presentation room is still being used by the previous agency, she explains apologetically. I'll come get you when it's ready. I settle in with my tablet, reviewing our slides one last time. 20 minutes later, I step out to use the restroom, taking a wrong turn in the unfamiliar building. As I round a corner, I hear a familiar laugh. Musical, calculated, unmistakable. Lena. I freeze, then instinctively step back around the corner, heart pounding. She hasn't seen me. I start to retreat further, then stop myself. Why am I hiding? I'm not the one who should feel ashamed. Straightening my shoulders, I continue toward the restroom, which means walking directly past Lena and a man I assume is from Aurelia. They're standing by a window, deep in conversation. As I approach, Lena looks up, and for a split second, her composure slips. Pure shock registers on her face before she quickly masks it with a polished smile. Mia Chen, she says, voice warm but eyes cold. What a surprise. Lena, I reply evenly. It's been a while. The man beside her glances between us with interest. You two know each other? Old college friends, Lena says before I can answer. We were inseparable back then, right, Mia? Roommates, I correct, echoing my earlier conversation with Alexis. It's nice to see you, Lena. Good luck with your pitch. I continue past them, feeling Lena's eyes boring into my back. The brief encounter has left me shaken, not because of any lingering intimidation, but because of how small she seemed. In my memories, both sets of them, Lena looms large, a formidable force of nature. In person, she's just a woman. Polished, attractive, but ordinary. Human. By the time I return to the waiting area, the receptionist is looking for me. Miss Chen, your room is ready now. As she leads me to the presentation space, I notice a laptop still connected to the projector. Lena's, presumably. She's gathering her things quickly, looking flustered. I just need to finish packing up, she tells the Aurelia team. Go ahead and bring in the next agency. Actually, I say smoothly, I could use a few extra minutes to set up our AR demonstration. It's quite technical. The Aurelia marketing director nods. Take your time, both of you. We're running ahead of schedule. And just like that, Lena and I are alone in the room. For a moment, neither of us speaks. I busy myself with unpacking my equipment, pretending not to notice her watching me. So, she finally says, Davidson and Bell, impressive. Thank you, I reply, not looking up. Walsh Creative seems to be doing well too. We're expanding, she says, a touch too defensively. Opening a West Coast office next month. I nod, plugging in my tablet. Congratulations. Another silence falls. I can feel her trying to read me, to gauge how much I know, how much I remember. Does she ever think about our thesis project? About the calls to my colleagues? About the copied AR concepts? Does she ever wonder what might have happened if I'd stayed in her orbit? If we'd followed the path of my previous life? We should get coffee sometime, she suggests suddenly. Catch up properly. Maybe, I say noncommittally. I mean it, Mia. Her tone shifts to something that, in another lifetime, I would have mistaken for genuine warmth. I've missed you. No one understands my creative process like you do. No one lets me take credit for their work like you do, is what she means. Even now, she's trying to find a way back in, a way to access what I can create. I'm pretty busy these days, I say. But good luck with your pitch. I'm sure it's excellent. Her smile tightens. It is. Revolutionary, actually. AR integration for luxury retail in a way that's never been done before. I freeze in the middle of adjusting my tablet stand. Is that so? She finishes packing her bag with deliberate slowness. I've been developing the concept for years, very cutting edge. She's baiting me, trying to get a reaction, trying to make me doubt myself, to wonder if she's somehow accessed my presentation, my ideas. The old Mia would have spiraled into anxiety, second-guessing everything, but I'm not that Mia anymore. Sounds interesting, I say mildly. I look forward to seeing what you've come up with. For a fraction of a second, uncertainty flashes across her face. She was expecting fear, defensiveness, not calm confidence. Well, she says, heading for the door, may the best concept win. It usually does, I reply. After she leaves, I take a moment to collect myself. That familiar toxic cloud she always brought with her. The subtle undermining, the implied threats, the casual ownership of my accomplishments, it still affects me. But not like before. Now it just makes me sad to see someone so talented waste their energy on manipulation rather than creation. When the Aurelia team returns, I'm fully composed, my demonstration ready. I deliver our pitch flawlessly, the AR elements stunning the clients into momentary silence before they erupt in enthusiastic questions. I can tell from their engagement that whatever Lena presented, it didn't have quite the same impact. Afterward, as I'm packing up, the marketing director approaches me. Remarkable presentation, Miss Chen. Truly innovative. He hesitates, then adds, I have to ask, were you and Walsh Creative working from the same brief? There were some similarities in your approaches. My stomach tightens. What kind of similarities? The AR integration for in-store experiences, the virtual try-on feature, the social media activation strategy. He studies me carefully. Miss Walsh presented a concept that felt like an early draft of what you just showed us. Of course she did. She must have found a way to access our pitch materials, a mole at Davidson and Bell perhaps, or a contact at Aurelia who leaked information. The same tactics 5 years later. I can't speak to Miss Walsh's presentation, I say carefully. But I can show you our concept development timeline, with dated drafts and prototypes going back 6 weeks. Everything we presented today is original work by Davidson and Bell. He nods, seemingly satisfied. I didn't mean to imply otherwise. It's just unusual to see such specific conceptual overlap. Not if one person had advance access to the other's ideas, I suggest quietly. His eyebrows raise slightly. That would be concerning. It would. I finish gathering my materials. If you have any other questions about our development process, I'm happy to provide additional documentation. As I leave Aurelia's building, my phone buzzes with a text from Ryan. How did it go? Pitch went great, I reply. But ran into Lena. Call you in 5. Outside on the sidewalk, I take a deep breath of crisp autumn air, trying to process the encounter. I should feel triumphant. My presentation clearly outshone hers. The Aurelia team was impressed by our concept, suspicious of the similarities to hers. I handled the situation professionally, without showing the emotional turmoil churning beneath the surface. But instead of victory, I feel a strange hollowness. Seeing Lena again, witnessing her using the same tactics that destroyed me in another life, has reopened wounds I thought had healed. Not because I fear her anymore, but because I'm forced to acknowledge that she hasn't changed, and perhaps never will. As I'm about to call Ryan, I notice a figure approaching from the building entrance. Lena, walking with determined strides directly toward me. You said something to them, didn't you? She demands without preamble. About our concepts being similar? They noticed the similarities themselves, I reply calmly. Hard not to, apparently. This is low, Mia, even for you. Her carefully maintained composure is slipping. Implying that I stole your ideas? We just happened to develop similar approaches. Did we? What are the odds that we both independently created an AR virtual try-on with that exact interface design, eh? It's an obvious solution for a luxury brand. So obvious that it required 6 weeks of development and testing by my team? I shake my head. Who's your inside source at Davidson and Bell, Lena? Or did you hack into our server? Her eyes widen with manufactured outrage. Are you accusing me of corporate espionage? Based on what? The fact that we had similar ideas? We used to brainstorm together all the time, Mia. We think alike. No, I say firmly. We don't. We never did. You just became very good at taking my thinking and presenting it as your own. That's not. It is. It always has been. From our thesis project to now. I step closer, lowering my voice. I've spent years documenting your pattern, Lena. Every similar idea, every misunderstanding about credit, every rumor conveniently traced back to you. She pales slightly but rallies quickly. You sound paranoid. This obsession isn't healthy. It's not an obsession, it's self-protection. I adjust my bag strap, readying to leave. I don't care if you win this account or not. I care about doing good work and being recognized for it. That's the difference between us. As I turn to go, she grabs my arm. Don't walk away from me. We're not finished. I look pointedly at her hand until she releases me. We were finished years ago, Lena. I just didn't know it then. You think you're so much better now, she hisses. The big success at Davidson and Bell, but we both know you'd be nothing without me pushing you all those years. Is that what you were doing? Pushing me? I laugh softly. More like stepping on me to climb higher. I made you. Before me, you were just a scared little girl hiding in the back of the classroom. There it is, the true Lena, masks off, entitled and furious at being challenged. In my previous life, this moment would have crushed me. Now it simply confirms what I already know. You didn't make me, I say quietly, but you nearly broke me. Not this time. I walk away, her angry calls fading behind me. When I'm half a block away, my phone buzzes again. Unknown number, but I can guess who it is. This isn't over. You'll regret crossing me. I save the number and the text, more documentation for the file, but don't respond. There's nothing left to say. When I call Ryan and tell him everything, he suggests coming to meet me, but I decline. I need time alone to process, to recalibrate after the confrontation I've been unconsciously bracing for since I awakened in my college dorm room 6 years ago. Are you okay? He asks, concern evident in his voice. I think I am, I reply, surprising myself with how true it feels. It was clarifying, in a way. Seeing her again, confirming that she hasn't changed. It makes me more certain that the path I chose this time was the right one. I never doubted that, he says, but I'm glad you got your confirmation. That night, I dream of water, not the dark, suffocating bathwater of my previous death, but a clear, bright ocean, waves carrying me gently to shore. I wake feeling lighter, as if some final tether to my old life has been severed. 2 days later, Alexis calls me into her office, her expression carefully neutral. Just got word from Aurelia, she says. They've made their decision. I brace myself. In my heart, I know our pitch was superior, but business decisions aren't always based solely on merit. Politics, relationships, budgets, all play a role. And, I prompt when she doesn't continue. A smile breaks across her face. We got it. Full campaign, exactly as we pitched it. Relief and pride wash through me. That's fantastic news. There's more, she adds, her smile fading slightly. They specifically mentioned concerns about conceptual overlap with Walsh Creative's pitch. They've requested unusually strict confidentiality protocols for this project. Meaning they suspect someone at Walsh might have had advance access to our concepts, and they don't want that happening again. She leans forward. Is there something I should know, Mia? I consider how to respond. I could share my history with Lena, detail her pattern of appropriation, show the documentation I've collected over the years, but what would that accomplish beyond dragging me back into her toxic orbit? I knew Lena Walsh in college, I say carefully. We had a complicated relationship. She has a history of taking credit for others' work, but I have no concrete proof she accessed our Aurelia materials specifically. Alexis nods slowly. Fair enough. But for this project, we're implementing enhanced security. Limited access server, code names, the works. If there is a leak, we'll find it. I understand. And Mia? She gives me a searching look. You'll be leading the creative team. This is your campaign from concept to execution. Your name will be on everything. In my previous life, those words would have seemed impossible, a fantasy of recognition forever beyond my reach. Now they're simply confirmation of what I've worked for, what I've earned. Thank you, I say. I won't let you down. The Aurelia campaign moves into production with remarkable speed. My team and I work furiously to build out the concepts we pitched, refining the AR components, shooting with top models, and Ryan behind the camera, creating something truly revolutionary. For the centerpiece of the campaign, Ryan suggests shooting a placeholder image using me as the model, just to test the AR functionality before the official photo shoot. The lighting's perfect right now, he explains, adjusting his camera. We can replace it with the professional shots later, but this will let us test the interface immediately. I agree, letting him position me against a simple backdrop, the Aurelia signature scarf draped artfully around my shoulders. It's just a technical test after all. The final campaign will feature famous faces, not mine. 3 months of intense work later, we're finally ready to launch. The campaign will debut simultaneously online and on billboards in major cities worldwide. It's the biggest project of my career, the culmination of years of innovation and perseverance. The night before the launch, I receive an email from the production company handling the billboard installations. There's been a minor issue with the image files. Nothing serious, they assure me. Just a formatting problem that's already been resolved. I think nothing of it. Technical glitches are common in large-scale launches. Everything else is proceeding perfectly. The next morning, I take a cab to Times Square to witness the unveiling of the main billboard personally. As we approach, I catch glimpses of it through the buildings. Massive, gleaming, stunning in its scale. But something's wrong. Very wrong. I pay the driver hastily and step out onto the crowded sidewalk, staring up in disbelief. The billboard is indeed spectacular, but it's not showing the campaign image we approved. Instead, it displays a bizarre composite, half of my face from the test shoot merged with half of another woman's face, Lena's face. My smile and her smile, stitched together to create a single unsettling image. Below it, the Aurelia logo and smaller text. Campaign concept by Lena Walsh, executed by Davidson and Bell. My phone is already ringing. Alexis, undoubtedly calling about the disaster unfolding on billboards worldwide. But I can't tear my eyes away from the monstrous image above me. Can't process how this happened. Can't breathe past the constriction in my throat. And that's where we began this story. Me standing in Times Square, staring up at my own smile bisected by Lena's, history repeating itself in the most perverse way possible. My third cup of coffee trembling in my hand as commuters brush past, oblivious to my meltdown. The same smile that once graced our college graduation photo, before she edited me out and claimed solo credit for our joint thesis. The same smile that appeared in our first marketing campaign, before I was conveniently removed from the team credits. Except this time, I'm not the naive Mia Chen who let it slide. This time, I've lived this life before, and I know exactly how it ends if I don't fight back. With me face down in my bathtub, while Lena accepts an award for my work. Not this time, I whisper, as I pull out my phone to make the call that will change everything. I want every communication between our team and the production company, I tell Alexis, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside me. Every file transfer, every email, every phone log. Something happened between our final approval and what went up on those billboards. We're in the Davidson and Bell crisis room, surrounded by panicked executives and furious Aurelia representatives. The campaign launch has been officially paused, but not before the composite billboards appeared in New York, London, Paris, and Tokyo. Social media is ablaze with speculation about the bizarre images and conflicting credits. We're already on it, Alexis assures me. It is combing through everything. But Mia, I need to understand. Who is Lena Walsh to you, really? And how did her name end up on our campaign? I take a deep breath. The moment has come to share everything, not just the present sabotage, but the years of manipulation, appropriation, and gaslighting, the pattern that spans 2 lifetimes. I open my laptop and pull up a folder labeled Walsh Documentation. This is going to take a while, I warn her. For the next hour, I walk Alexis through my history with Lena, the thesis project she tried to present without me, the rumors she spread about my mental stability, the industry contacts she pumped for information about my work. I show her the text messages, the emails, the witness statements I've collected over the years. I leave out only the impossible parts, my previous life, my death, my rebirth. Some truths are too strange to share, even in moments of crisis. When I finish, Alexis is silent for a long moment, processing everything I've shown her. This goes beyond professional rivalry, she says finally. This is pathological. I know how it sounds, I say. Like I'm the obsessive one for keeping all this documentation, but no, she interrupts firmly. You were protecting yourself, and thank God you did, because without this history, what's happening today would look like an isolated incident, not part of a pattern. Relief washes through me. She believes me. She understands. The question now, she continues, is how Walsh accessed our files and manipulated the final output. That level of interference requires inside help. By midday, our IT team has made the first breakthrough. The production company received altered files 2 days before the launch. Files that appeared to come from Davidson and Bell's server, but contain the composite images and modified credits. The digital trail leads back to an IP address at a printing company in Brooklyn, the IT director explains. A company that, according to their client list, has done work for Walsh Creative on multiple occasions. She has someone on the inside there, I conclude. Someone who could intercept and alter our files. That's our working theory, he agrees. We're still tracing exactly how they gained access to our server to begin with. That question is answered late that evening when a junior designer at Davidson and Bell confesses to sharing his login credentials with a friend who, it turns out, occasionally freelances for Walsh Creative. I didn't know what they were going to do with it, he insists tearfully. They said they just wanted to see some examples of our work process for reference. I never thought... You never thought they'd use it to sabotage a major campaign and potentially destroy a colleague's career? Alexis's voice is ice. Clean out your desk. Security will escort you out. As the designer is led away, she turns to me. We'll need to bring in legal. This crosses several lines. Corporate espionage, fraud, defamation. The question is whether you want to pursue this personally as well as the agency pursuing it institutionally. Do I want to pursue it? The question echoes in my mind as I leave the office late that night, emotionally drained but resolute. In my previous life, I never fought back. I retreated. I doubted myself. I surrendered piece by piece until there was nothing left of me. Not this time. When I arrive home, Ryan is waiting with dinner and an unwavering belief in me that still sometimes takes my breath away. It's all over industry news, he says, pulling me into a tight embrace. Everyone knows something suspicious happened. No one believes you had anything to do with it. It's not just about clearing my name, I say against his shoulder. It's about stopping her once and for all. She's done this to others before me. She'll do it to others after me if no one stands up to her. He pulls back slightly to look at me. What are you thinking? I'm thinking it's time to find out if I was her first victim or just one of many. The next morning, I begin my own investigation, parallel to the official one being conducted by Davidson and Bell's legal team. I start with Eli, Ryan's freshman roommate who had supposedly had a breakdown after Lena published his work under her name. I find him on social media, now a successful writer in Los Angeles, publishing under his own name rather than a pseudonym. I send a carefully worded message explaining the situation and asking if he'd be willing to share his experience. His response comes within hours. I've been waiting years for someone to finally expose her. When can we talk? Eli's story, when he shares it over video call that evening, is eerily similar to my own. Lena befriended him in a creative writing class, positioning herself as his mentor and champion. She offered to help him submit his work to literary magazines, then published his short stories under her name. When he confronted her, she told everyone he was having a psychotic break, even going so far as to call his parents with concerns about his mental health. The worst part wasn't even the stolen work, he tells me. His expression still haunted years later. It was how she made me doubt myself. Made everyone doubt me. By the time I transferred schools, I wasn't sure what was real anymore. I nod, understanding completely. Did you ever consider taking legal action? On what grounds? It was my word against hers, and she'd already convinced everyone I was unstable. He sighs heavily. Besides, I just wanted to escape, to start over somewhere she couldn't reach me. I understand, I say softly. More than you know. Eli puts me in touch with 2 other former classmates with similar stories. Then, I find online testimonials from junior designers who briefly worked at Walsh Creative before leaving under mysterious circumstances. Patterns emerge. Lena targeting talented but insecure individuals, isolating them, appropriating their work, then discrediting them when they objected. I compile everything into a comprehensive document and share it with Davidson and Bell's legal team. Their investigation has yielded equally damning evidence. Digital forensics proving the file tampering originated from Walsh Creative's network. Witness statements from the printing company employees who were paid to make the substitutions, financial transactions, linking it all back to Lena. We have enough to file both civil and potentially criminal charges, the lead attorney tells me. Corporate espionage, fraud, defamation, tortious interference with business relationships, the list goes on. What happens next, I ask. That depends partly on you, she replies. As the most directly affected party, your involvement will be crucial. Are you prepared to go public with your history with Walsh? It could get messy. I think about the bathtub, about the moment I gave up, let go, slid under the water, about all the other Elis out there who retreated and started over rather than fight back. Yes, I say firmly, I'm prepared. The legal machinery moves swiftly after that. Davidson and Bell files a lawsuit against Walsh Creative and Lena personally. Aurelia issues a public statement supporting me and severing all potential ties with Walsh Creative. The composite billboards come down, replaced by the original approved campaign images. Through it all, Lena maintains a defiant public stance, issuing statements claiming she's being framed by a jealous former friend, that the concept was originally hers, that I'm the one with the history of instability and obsession, but behind the scenes, evidence continues to mount against her. More victims come forward. Former employees testify about her business practices. The digital trail leads unequivocally back to her. 3 weeks into the legal battle, I receive a text from a number I haven't deleted, though I've never responded to its previous messages. We need to talk. Privately, no lawyers. Lena. I show the message to Ryan, who immediately shakes his head. It's a trap. She's desperate. Don't give her the opportunity to manipulate you again. I know, I agree, but part of me wants to hear what she has to say. What possible explanation she could offer. That's exactly what she's counting on. Your curiosity, your empathy, your lingering connection to her. He takes my hand. You don't owe her anything, Mia. Not your time, not your attention, not one more minute of your life. He's right, of course. The healthiest choice would be to forward the message to our legal team and continue with the formal process. To maintain boundaries. To protect myself from her manipulation. But there's another part of me, the part that remembers our genuine friendship before it all went wrong. The part that wonders if, in this timeline, there might be a different ending to our story that wants to hear her out. So, against all rational advice, I reply, one conversation, public place. Tomorrow, 3 p.m., Bryant Park. Her response is immediate. Thank you, I'll be there. The next day, I arrive at the park deliberately late, not wanting to give Lena the opportunity to control the meeting. Ryan waits nearby, out of sight, but close enough to intervene if needed. A precaution that would have seemed paranoid in my previous life, but now feels simply prudent. Lena is sitting on a bench near the fountain, hunched slightly forward, less polished than I've ever seen her. When she spots me approaching, she straightens, hands fidgeting in her lap. I wasn't sure you'd come, she says as I sit beside her, maintaining a careful distance. Neither was I reply honestly. What do you want, Lena? She takes a deep breath. To propose a settlement, something that benefits us both. I'm listening. Merge our agencies, she says, leaning toward me intently. Walsh and Chen Creative, or Chen and Walsh, like we always planned. You bring your technical expertise, your AR innovations. I bring my client relationships, my pitching skills. We'd be unstoppable together. I stare at her, momentarily speechless. After everything, the sabotage, the legal battle, the years of manipulation, she's proposing we become partners? You can't be serious. I'm completely serious. Her eyes hold mine, earnest and calculating simultaneously. Think about it, Mia. We complement each other perfectly. We always have. Your creativity, my salesmanship, your technical skills, my networking abilities. And who gets the credit? I ask quietly. Who becomes the face of the agency while the other does the work? Equal partners, she insists. Truly equal this time. We'll put it in writing, ironclad contracts. You'll have complete creative control over your projects. It's exactly what she promised in my previous life. Equal partnership, proper credit, creative freedom. Promises that evaporated the moment I signed the papers, the moment I tied my fate to hers. And all the lawsuits, the evidence, the Billboard sabotage, that just disappears. She has the grace to look momentarily abashed. A regrettable miscalculation. Heat of the moment. A miscalculation, I repeat flatly. You tampered with files, infiltrated a production process, tried to destroy my career, and it's a miscalculation. I was desperate, she admits, dropping the polished facade for a moment. When I heard Davidson and Bell got the Aurelia account, my account, the one I'd been cultivating for years, something just snapped. Your account? Lena, you accessed our pitch materials illegally. You copied our concepts. I improved on them, she protests. My version was better, more marketable. But they chose yours because of your agency's reputation, not because the work was superior. The delusion is almost impressive. Even now, backed into a legal corner with evidence mounting against her, she can't admit the fundamental truth, that she takes rather than creates, that she builds her success on others' ideas rather than her own. This conversation is pointless, I say, standing to leave. I'll see you in court. Wait! She grabs my wrist, her fingers digging in painfully. You don't understand. I need this. I need you. I look down at her hand, then back to her face. Let go of me, Lena. Everything's falling apart, she continues, her voice cracking. Clients are leaving. Investors are pulling out. The agency is collapsing. Without this settlement, I'm finished. That's not my problem. It could be your opportunity, she persists, releasing my wrist but leaning closer. Buy me out. Absorb my client list. Take everything. Why would I want anything associated with you? Because deep down, you miss it too, she says, her voice dropping to a near whisper. The way we were together. The magic we created. No one understands you like I do, Mia. No one knows what you're capable of the way I do. For a moment, just a moment, I feel the pull of our old dynamic. The seductive ease of falling back into familiar patterns. Of being understood on that fundamental level that comes from years of intense proximity. And then I remember the water closing over my head, the absolute despair that drove me to that point, and the illusion shatters. You're right about one thing, I say quietly. No one knows what I'm capable of the way you do. You've been underestimating it for years. Her expression hardens, the vulnerability vanishing as if it was never there. So that's it? No settlement, no compromise? You'll destroy me completely. You did this to yourself, Lena, and to Eli and all the others before me. I step back from the bench. It ends here. As I turn to leave, she calls after me, her voice carrying across the park. You think you're so different from me? You think your precious Ryan won't do exactly what I did once he sees how much you're worth? I don't respond, don't give her the satisfaction of seeing me react. But her words follow me across the park, needling at insecurities I thought I'd overcome. Ryan meets me at the park exit, concern etched on his face. Are you okay? I couldn't hear what she was saying, but it looked intense. I'm fine, I assure him, taking his offered hand. She wanted to settle, proposed a merger of our agencies. He laughs in disbelief. She can't be serious. She's desperate, I say, and dangerous because of it. Let's go home. That night, I dream of drowning again. Not in a bathtub this time, but in an ocean of other people's expectations, desires, needs. I wake gasping, reaching instinctively for Ryan beside me. But I also wake with clarity. Lena's final accusation, that Ryan would eventually use me the way she did, was her last attempt at manipulation, at isolating me from my support system. In my previous life, it might have worked. In this one, I know better. I know the difference between exploitation and partnership, between control and collaboration. And I know what I need to do next. The evidence against Lena continues to mount as the legal proceedings advance. Former employees provide testimonials about her business practices. Technical experts confirm the digital trail leading from the Billboard sabotage directly to Walsh Creative's servers. Financial records reveal payments to the printing company employees who made the last-minute substitutions. Through it all, Lena maintains her public persona of wronged innocence. Her social media overflows with carefully crafted posts about perseverance in the face of adversity, about former friends turned enemies, about jealousy and betrayal. She gives emotional interviews claiming she's being framed, that the evidence is fabricated, that I'm obsessed with destroying her out of professional. She gives emotional interviews claiming she's being framed, that the evidence is fabricated, that I'm obsessed with destroying her out of professional jealousy. But behind the scenes, her world is collapsing. Walsh Creative loses clients daily. Her investors withdraw support. Former colleagues distance themselves publicly. The agency that once rivaled established industry players begins to crumble under the weight of scandal. 6 weeks after the Billboard incident, I receive a call from Davidson and Bell's legal team. Walsh has approached us with a formal settlement offer, the lead attorney informs me. She's willing to admit wrongdoing, issue a public apology, and pay substantial damages. What's the catch? I ask immediately, knowing Lena never gives without expecting something greater in return. She wants all evidence sealed, no public disclosure of the specific details of her actions, and she wants a non-disparagement agreement preventing you from discussing your history with her beyond the Billboard incident. I laugh mirthlessly. So she admits guilt privately but maintains her reputation publicly, and I'm silenced about everything she did before this. That's the essence of it, yes. No deal, I say without hesitation. I'm not interested in money. I want the truth on record. The attorney sighs. I thought you might say that. I should warn you, though, if this goes to trial, it will get ugly. Walsh's team will attack your credibility, your mental health history, your professional reputation. They'll paint you as obsessive, vindictive, unstable. Let them try, I reply, a calm certainty settling over me. I've faced worse. Later that evening, as Ryan and I are discussing the settlement offer over dinner, my phone rings with an unknown number. Something tells me who it is before I even answer. Mia Chen. Lena's voice sounds different, raw, stripped of its usual polish. I heard you rejected the settlement. How did you get this number? I ask, though I'm not really surprised. Boundaries have never meant much to Lena. Does it matter? We need to talk, for real this time. I glance at Ryan, who's watching me with concern. We have nothing to discuss that can't be handled through our lawyers. Please, she says, and the desperation in that single word gives me pause. In all our years together, in both my lives, I've never heard Lena beg. 1 hour, my office, tonight. Your office, absolutely not. Name the place then, anywhere public, I'll come alone. I consider hanging up, blocking the number, continuing with the legal process that will almost certainly end in Lena's professional destruction. It would be the safer choice, the more logical one. But some part of me, the part that remembers our genuine friendship before it all went wrong, the part that wonders if understanding her might finally free me, wants to hear what she has to say. The rooftop garden at the Thompson Hotel, 8 o'clock, I decide. 1 hour. If you're not alone or if you try to record anything, I'm leaving immediately. I'll be there, she promises. Thank you, Mia. After I hang up, Ryan shakes his head. I don't like this. Neither do I admit. But I need to do it. Then I'm coming with you. No. I reach across the table for his hand. I need to face her alone, but I'll keep my phone on, location sharing activated. If I'm not out in exactly 1 hour, call the police. That's not reassuring, he says dryly. Lena's manipulative, not violent, I remind him. This isn't about physical safety, it's about... I trail off, searching for the right words. A closure, he suggests. Maybe. Or maybe just understanding why. Why me? Why any of us? What drives someone to build their life on stealing from others? The rooftop garden at the Thompson Hotel is nearly empty when I arrive. A few couples cluster around the fire pits and a solitary businessman types frantically on his laptop at the bar. Lena isn't here yet. I choose a table in the corner with clear sightlines to both the elevator and stairwell exits. Old habits from my previous life, always positioning myself to see trouble coming. At precisely 8 o'clock, the elevator doors open and Lena steps out. She's alone, as promised, and dressed with uncharacteristic simplicity. Jeans, a black sweater, minimal makeup. Her hair, usually styled to perfection, is pulled back in a loose ponytail. She looks younger, more vulnerable, almost like the college girl I first befriended. For a moment, she scans the rooftop, and I have the strange sensation of seeing her with fresh eyes. Not as the monster of my nightmares, not as the brilliant manipulator, but as a person. Flawed, complex, damaged in ways I might never fully understand. Then she spots me and approaches, hesitating before taking the seat across from me. "Thank you for coming," she says, hands fidgeting with a napkin. "I didn't think you would." I almost didn't. I study her carefully. "Why am I here, Lena?" She takes a deep breath. "I want to explain, not excuse, just explain, and then make you a different kind of offer than the legal settlement." I'm listening. "First, I need you to know that I never intended things to go this far. The billboard was a mistake. A desperate, stupid mistake when I saw Aurelia slipping away." "The billboard wasn't a mistake," I correct her. "It was the culmination of a pattern that started in college. A pattern I finally have enough evidence to prove." She flinches almost imperceptibly. "That's fair. But you have to understand where it comes from. Why I am the way I am. Enlighten me." She looks out over the city skyline, gathering her thoughts. "Did I ever tell you about my childhood? Really tell you, I mean, you said your parents were high achievers, academics who pushed you to excel." She laughs, but there's no humor in it. "That's the sanitized version. My father was a renowned economist who published groundbreaking papers, other people's research with his name slapped on it. My mother was a dean who built her reputation on stealing her colleagues' initiatives. They taught me that ideas are worthless without the power to claim them." I say nothing, waiting for her to continue. "The only time either of them noticed me was when I brought home awards, publications, recognition," she continues. "Not for effort, not for creativity, only for visible, public achievements. If I came home excited about a project, their first question was always, will it win anything?" Her fingers shred the napkin methodically as she speaks. "When I was 16, I wrote a short story I was really proud of. Poured my heart into it. My father read it and said, 'Good bones, but it needs my name on it to get published.' Then he submitted it to a literary journal with himself listed as the author and me as research assistant. Despite everything, I feel a flicker of empathy. That's awful, Lena, but it doesn't justify—" "I'm not justifying," she interrupts. "I'm explaining. I learned early that creation wasn't valued, only acquisition and presentation. That no one cares who had the idea first, only who packages it best." Her eyes meet mine. "Then I met you, this brilliantly creative person who made things just for the joy of making them, who didn't even care if anyone saw them. It was intoxicating. So you decided to take what I created because I didn't guard it jealously enough?" "Not consciously, not at first." She leans forward. "I admired you, Mia, genuinely. But I also saw opportunities you didn't. Ways to leverage your talent, to bring it to a wider audience. To pass it off as your own," I add flatly. "To package and present it effectively," she counters, then sighs. "But yes, often without proper credit. It became a pattern, a compulsion almost. Each time it worked, it reinforced what my parents taught me. That acquisition is the same as creation. That the presenter matters more than the originator. I absorb this, trying to reconcile the damaged person before me with the monster of my nightmares. Why are you telling me this now?" "Because I'm in therapy," she says simply. "Have been for months, even before the Billboard disaster. My therapist says I have a pathological relationship with creative attribution. Fancy way of saying I'm a thief who doesn't think she's stealing." This confession, delivered with such matter-of-fact self-awareness, catches me off guard. In my previous life, Lena never showed this level of insight or vulnerability. She never admitted wrongdoing, never sought help, never seemed to recognize the damage she caused. "So what now?" I ask cautiously. "You want forgiveness?" "I don't deserve forgiveness," she replies. "What I want is a chance to make amends, to break the pattern. That's my offer, not legal settlement, but genuine change." "What exactly are you proposing?" "Full public confession, complete transparency about everything. The billboard, yes, but also the thesis project, the copied concepts, all of it. No NDA, no sealed evidence. She takes a shaky breath. In exchange, I ask only that you acknowledge my commitment to change. Not forgiveness, just recognition that I'm trying to be better. I study her face, searching for signs of the manipulation I've come to expect, but all I see is exhaustion and something that might be genuine remorse. Why would you do that? It would destroy your career completely. My career is already destroyed, she says with a humorless laugh. My agency is collapsing. My reputation is in tatters. I have nothing left to lose professionally. She meets my gaze directly. But personally, I might still salvage something of myself. Some integrity, some path forward that isn't built on taking from others. And if I say no, then we continue through the courts. I fight as hard as I can, probably lose anyway, and emerge with legal consequences, but no actual growth. She shrugs. Either way, Walsh Creative is finished. The only question is whether Lena Walsh gets a chance at redemption. I sit back processing her offer. It's not at all what I expected. In my previous life, Lena never admitted fault, never sought change, never showed this level of self-awareness. Is this version of her genuinely different? Or is this the most sophisticated manipulation yet? I need time to think about this, I say finally. I understand. She slides a folder across the table. This contains a draft of my public statement admitting everything. Full confessions about each incident, including many you probably don't know about. Read it, modify it if needed. Let me know if it's enough. I take the folder, careful not to open it yet. Why me, Lena? Of all the people you worked with, why was I the main target? She's quiet for so long, I think she might not answer. When she finally speaks, her voice is barely above a whisper. Because you were the best, the most talented, the most genuine, and because you saw me, the real me, and still wanted to be my friend. Her eyes shine with unshed tears. Everyone else was a transaction. You were the only real relationship I had, and I destroyed it because I don't know how to have relationships that aren't based on taking. The raw honesty of this statement hits me harder than I expected. In both my lives, I've wondered if our friendship was ever real, if there was ever genuine connection beneath the manipulation. To hear her confirm that there was, and that she ruined it anyway, brings a complex mix of vindication and grief. I'll read this, I say, tapping the folder. I'll think about your offer. That's all I can promise right now. That's more than I deserve, she replies, standing to leave. Thank you for listening, Mia. As she turns to go, I find myself asking one last question. Are you getting actual help, beyond the legal damage control? She looks back, a sad smile crossing her face. 3 sessions a week. Turns out I have daddy issues, narcissistic tendencies, and an emptiness inside that no amount of stolen credit can fill. The self-deprecating honesty is so unlike the Lena I've known that it momentarily stuns me. Who knew, right? After she leaves, I remain at the table, the unopened folder before me like a bomb waiting to detonate. Part of me wants to throw it away unread, to continue with the legal process that will ensure Lena faces consequences for her actions. That would be the safer choice, the more logical one. But another part, the part that remembers our genuine friendship, the part that understands how formative experiences shape destructive patterns, wants to at least consider her offer. I finally open the folder and begin to read. The confession is comprehensive, specific, and unflinching in its self-indictment. Lena details not just the incidents I know about, but others I never suspected. Work stolen from colleagues, credit taken from subordinates, ideas appropriated from competitors. She spares herself nothing, laying bare the full extent of her pattern of behavior. The final paragraph catches me off guard with its directness. To Mia Chen, whose friendship and talent I exploited for years. You deserved a true collaborator, not someone who saw your brilliance as something to be harvested. The success I achieved using your ideas was hollow and ultimately unsustainable, as all false things must eventually collapse. No apology can undo the damage I've caused to your career, your confidence, and your trust in others. But I offer one nonetheless, not with expectation of forgiveness, but as acknowledgement of truth long denied. By the time I finish reading, an hour has passed. My phone buzzes with a text from Ryan. Everything okay? Yes, I reply. Heading home now, we'll explain everything. That night, I show Ryan the confession, watching his expression shift from skepticism to grudging respect for its thoroughness. Do you believe her? He asks when he's finished reading. That she wants to change? I'm not sure, I admit. But this level of self exposure feels different from her usual tactics. She's not trying to protect her reputation anymore. She's offering to demolish it herself. People like Lena are master manipulators, he reminds me gently. This could be another angle, another way to regain control of the narrative. I know. I lean back against the couch, mentally exhausted. But what if it's not? What if she's genuinely trying to break the cycle? Then that's her journey, Ryan says. Not your responsibility. But my response could help or hinder that journey, I point out. If I reject any possibility of amends, am I perpetuating the cycle in my own way? He considers this. What does your gut tell you? I close my eyes, searching for the answer within myself. That she's being truthful about wanting to change, but that change will be a long, difficult process. That this confession is just the beginning, not the end. And what do you want? Justice, I say immediately. But not vengeance. I want her to face consequences, but I also want resolution for both of us. Ryan nods slowly. Then I think you know what to do. The next morning, I call my lawyer and explain Lena's offer. She's cautiously supportive, but insists on formalizing the agreement to protect all parties. 3 days later, we meet in a conference room. Lena, myself, and our respective legal teams to finalize the terms. Lena will issue her full public confession, face whatever legal consequences arise from her admitted actions, and commit to ongoing therapy. In exchange, I'll acknowledge her efforts toward change in a brief statement, neither condemning nor forgiving, simply recognizing the step taken. As we sign the documents, Lena meets my eyes across the table. Thank you, she says quietly, for giving me the chance to tell the truth. I'm not doing it for you, I reply honestly. I'm doing it because the truth matters. To me, to the others you've hurt, and maybe someday to you too. She nods, accepting this without argument. Fair enough. As we leave the meeting, walking side by side toward the elevator, she asks, do you think we could ever be friends again? Not now, obviously. But someday? The question catches me off guard. In my previous life, our relationship ended in my death. In this one, I've been so focused on protection and justice that I never considered what might come after. I don't know, I answer truthfully. Trust, once broken, is very difficult to rebuild. I understand. But, I add carefully, healing is possible, even if restoration isn't. I hope you find your way forward, Lena. I really do. Her smile is small but genuine. That's more than I expected. Thank you. We part ways in the lobby, she to her shrinking world, me to my expanding one. As I step into the sunlight, I feel lighter, unburdened of a weight I've carried across 2 lifetimes. Not the weight of anger or fear, but of unresolved questions, of wondering if I could have somehow prevented what happened. Now I understand that Lena's behavior was never about me, my talent, my vulnerability, my failure to protect myself. It was about patterns established long before we met, wounds inflicted by others that she transferred onto everyone in her path. Understanding doesn't excuse, but it does illuminate. And in that light, I can finally see the full shape of our story, not just as victim and perpetrator, but as 2 people with different damages, different paths, different possibilities for healing.